Once upon a time, in a quiet southern village surrounded by mountains and myths, lived Princess Ejiro, the only daughter of a beloved and powerful king. Adored beyond measure, Ejiro was not just the jewel of her father's heart, she was also his most closely guarded secret. From the day she could walk, the princess had been forbidden to leave the palace. The outside world brings danger, not only to you, but to all we hold dear, her father warned. Yet he never told her why. Behind golden gates and ancient walls, a hero grew, a bird in a gilded cage. She would often stand by her window, eyes filled with wonder, yearning for the world she had never touched. One fateful day, she overheard the palace maidens whispering about the village's grand annual festival. Music, colors, dancing, a world beyond her dreams. And in a moment of youthful rebellion, she made a decision that would change everything. She would sneak out and see it for herself. Disguised in a simple maiden's dress, Ejiro slipped out under the hum of celebration. The village was alive. Laughter echoed through the air. Drums beat like heartbeats. And for the first time in her life, Ejiro was free. She danced, she smiled, and then she bumped into a young man, tall and kind-eyed, who smiled gently at her. But before she could return his greeting, he gasped, clutched his throat, and fell lifeless to the ground. Terrified, Ejiro fled. No one saw her. No one knew. But by morning, whispers filled the village. A witch in disguise had killed a man at the festival. The king, shaken and furious, ordered every palace maiden to be questioned. When no one confessed, he turned to the ancient law, the trial of the forest. One by one, the maidens were sent into the forest of ancestors, where truth was said to be revealed. If guilty, the forest would take them. If innocent, they would return. Miraculously, every maiden came back unharmed. But Ejiro, paralyzed with guilt, locked herself away in silence. Days passed. Then, to her shock, her father summoned her, not for punishment, but with joyful news. She was to choose a husband and finally step out into the world. On the day of her royal unveiling, the palace shimmered with splendor. Suitors from far and wide filled the great hall. As Ejiro entered, veiled in elegance and light, gasps filled the room, and then silence. One by one, every suitor collapsed into a deep, unshakable sleep. Panic swept the court. Ejiro, horrified, fled once again. Desperate for answers, the king summoned the chief priest. The priest revealed the truth behind the curse. When Princess Ejiro broke the sacred rule and left the palace, she unknowingly disrupted an ancient covenant. The man who died that night has become her spirit husband. Until he releases her, no living man may claim her. The king, devastated, confronted his daughter. In tears, Ejiro confessed everything. The priest warned that if the curse wasn't broken soon, the king's life would be taken as payment. Determined to save her father, Ejiro spent every night in prayer. She begged the spirit to show mercy, to forgive her, to release her from this unseen chain. But night after night, there was only silence. As her father's health declined, hopelessness took hold. In her final desperation, Ejiro resolved to end her life, believing it the only way to save him. That night, as she lay in sorrow, she dreamed of the forest. And there, beneath the moonlight, stood the spirit. He looked at her, not with anger, but with quiet pain. You long for death, he said gently. But I, who am dead, long for life. Do not throw away what you can never give back. Tears streamed down Ejiro's face. She knelt before him, truly repentant, and begged for forgiveness, not for herself, but for the lives her mistake had nearly destroyed. The spirit, moved by her sincerity, finally smiled. Your heart has learned. I release you. At dawn, Ejiro rushed to her father's chambers. He was awake, smiling, alive. The spell was broken. In time, a noble prince from a faraway land arrived, one not bound by the curse of the past. He loved Ejiro not for her title, but for the strength and wisdom she now carried. And so Princess Ejiro became Queen Ejiro, no longer the girl behind the gates, but a woman forged by courage, humility, and redemption. The lesson. Sometimes a single moment of impatience can bring a lifetime of regret, but patience, humility, and a truly remorseful heart can turn curses into blessings. Choose wisely. Choose patiently. I hope you enjoyed the story. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It helps us grow our channel. I'll see you in our next story. Bye.